If there's more yellow flag disruption late on, it could prove costly for this man, Marc Marquez. He has a long look over his left shoulder. He will see the Muni VR46 number 10 of Luca Marini directly behind him. Just under 4 minutes of the session remaining, and as it stands at the moment, Marquez down in 13th place. He's going to get his head under the bubble here, isn't he, and get into full attack mode. The 93, trying to make it a dozen successive victories here in the Sachsenring. Here he goes and head down. Just ahead of him as a reference is his younger brother, former Moto2 and Moto3 world champion, Alex Marquez. Oh, baby! Oh, that's horrendous. That is horrendous.
I hope it didn't
That's
catch
one of
his
the Primo
foot.
Ducati boys exiting pit lane there. Marc Marquez has lost control going into the first corner, and one of the luckless, was it Johan Zarco or Jorge Martin?
I'm just hoping it didn't catch his foot, you know, as the bike hit his bike, because it just skittled him. Hopefully the foot peg's high enough to miss it, and he's just shaken up.
It's Johan Zarco. Look at the damage to Zarco's Ducati side. I mean, almost looks like it's been cut in half. So Marquez,
Here we go.
Marquez is going to lose it over the crest, losing the front. Zarco's coming out the pit lane here. Watch this, and now this is going to be sickening.
It misses his foot.
Oh, he just rips the front end out.
Yeah.
Totally rips the front end out of Zarco's Ducati. That was awful. I remember years ago, Simon, that happened with Danilo Petrucci and Polispargo in Aragon. But that looked even worse. Red flag, no surprise here. Poor old Johan Zarco.
Matt, there's even going to be oil sprayed around because it like tore the forks right out.
Do you know what, Simon, as well? The horrible thing there for Zarco, he'd have heard that coming. He'd have heard the scraping and Mark's bike.
Yeah. And no way you can do. There's Gino Basoy. It's missed his foot.
Well, and hopefully it was just a dead leg. Initially, why he couldn't get off the ground, because
it would be a big impact, wouldn't it? But luckily missed him, because I mean it must have missed him by very little, you know, to miss your foot.
Johan Zarco needs to go and buy a lottery ticket tonight, because he's just got away with one there. That was absolutely awful to watch. Over the crest, trying to get into attack mode, trying to find a late lap to improve on 13th place. Marc Marquez locks the front end of his Repsol Honda and just completely innocently cruising out of the pit lane to try himself to secure a place in the top 10. Poor old, the luckless Johan Zarco on the outside gets an absolute walloping. Thankfully, both of them are okay. That's the best possible news, because let's just watch this again, Simon.
It's a normal crash for this corner. We were just talking about it. As they start turning in, lock the front, down he goes.
Watch Zarco's front end here. Absolutely ripped out.
Yeah, and lucky it was far forward enough to miss Johan's body, you know, lower body.
And what you're talking 12 inches, half a foot there.
Yeah, something like that. I agree.
Marc Marquez went immediately over to apologise to this man, Johan Zarco, who is going to be angry, he's going to be frustrated, but also thanking his lucky stars, because that is the second time then in this hour-long session that we've had red flags for an incident involving only one of the two of our remaining 2 Honda riders left in this field. Johan Zarco then in the back of the pit, well, he's coming now into the back of the garage. You can just see there he's being followed by team manager Gino Borsoy. Directly behind Gino is Pramac Ducati owner Paolo Campinotti. So thankful, so grateful that Zarco didn't absorb the full impact there, Simon, because that could have been a leg breaker.
That genuinely scared me. Like, more than leg breaker, that would have been really messy, Matt, having your foot jammed between two motorcycles at that speed.
I mean,
impact. So yeah, I actually feel a bit shaken up, because I thought it had got him the way he was lying there. And brilliant news. So this shouldn't take long at all. Look, what is it? Yeah, out they go. They're about brilliant. We're back on track, and we can get over that, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, Simon, you've got to take into account that the forces of the impact there to rip out the front end of Johan Zarco's bike. That just shows the velocity and the speed that his Honda slammed into Zarco's Ducati there.
Yeah, totally agree. But 2 in 1 session, the forks like snapped off. The thing is, they are made to be unbelievable. Wow, they're made to be, those forks there, like I was saying, the carbon fibre outer tube, they've got the right amount of flex, you know, and then on its side, suspension doesn't work very well, so there's a real science in getting the fork tubes to flex, because the wheel's actually being bent sideways, you know, when you're at such an angle and over ripples. So they're not, obviously, you know, what we've just seen, they're not as strong or as forgiving as the aluminium in an accident, but they just perform amazing, you know. We're soaking up bumps on an angle, so that's what like they're designed to do.
That's one of those gut-wrenching crashes where the more you look at it, the worse it gets. And the more you... Somebody else is down. Somebody else is down. Look there at turn number 11. This is cold front tyre. So who is that one then? It is. It's Digia. And the yellow flags are out. And this may well be it, because that's going to be a pretty big cleanup operation. And what this will mean, potentially, Marc Marquez will be going into Q1 here in the Saxon ring.
I don't think he can get round to the flag, because can he? I mean, can he get round to before the checkered flag?
But when those yellow flags have been out previously, Simon, at turn number 11, they've been out for quite a while to get the debris cleared away.
Yeah, but this lap doesn't matter. It's just whether he gets across the flag. It's the checkered flag. It's the next lap, whether he can make it. He might just be going out to practice the start, you know, I don't know, but I doubt whether he can make the flag.
The luckiest man in Germany, the luckiest man on planet Earth right now, amazingly, having just been composed by his team manager in the Planet Ducati garage, Gino Borsoi. Johann Zarco is heading back out on circuit.
Yeah, now I've seen both swing arms. This is back on the longer bike, so he was testing that different setup that I spotted, and it wasn't going to plan really, wasn't that? He had a few scares.
He did. Yellow flags have been withdrawn then, so we can crack on here. 30 seconds remaining. Jack, a very, very quick update on a very shaken Zarco, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's all okay. Fonzi Nieto giving the big thumbs up. The big word that he said, though, very lucky. They got away with one.
Yeah, they really did. Thanks for that, Jack. As we just mentioned, the more you look at it, the more you view it, the worse it actually gets. I think it's because you know what's coming, isn't it? It's like just horrible. So thankful that Zarco is okay on what, barely 2 minutes after being involved in a horrendous collision with Marc Marquez's stricken Honda. Fair play to him. It shows that these guys are made of stern stuff, doesn't it? He's refocused, back in the zone, and back out on circuit, Zarco, as the checkered flag comes out then. And Marc Marquez has taken the checkered flag, and he will realise that sinking feeling that he's got to go into Q1. Marquez then did not find any time in that session. What an eventful session it turned out to be. Well, that face says it all, doesn't it, from HRC Technical Director Ken Kawauchi. Face as long as a long wet Sunday there, wasn't it? Marc Marquez then, the big story of the day. He is out of Q1 directly. Aleix Espargaro, he digs really deep. Look at that, he is so pumped, so full of adrenaline, nearly breaks the screen on that factory Aprilia as he gives it a whack. A 1:23.52. Aleix Espargaro, no problems, he's going into Q2. Here come the late shows though from Italians Pecco Bagnaia and Marco Bezzecchi. Aleix Espargaro leads. Bagnaia is going to go through because he's in second place. Simon's great spot on Jack Miller's revamped KTM settings. That's worked a treat for the Australian. He's going to be inside that top 10 in P3 potentially. Over the line, Bezzecchi comes. He's taking the checker flag very, very soon now. It was Marini, wasn't it? Bezzecchi finds the quickest time, right in the coattails of world champion Pecco Bagnaia. He was down in 16th place at the start of that lap. It was Marco Bezzecchi, but he finds P1. Johann Zarco comes over the line, the man who's just had the miraculous escape in that session after the hit from Marc Marquez's crashed Honda. And he's got some good luck as well, because Zarco, I think, is going to creep into that top 10. Some luck that he deserves after that scare. More drama for the Marquez brothers, because now late on, Alex Marquez has gone down the final corner. What a dramatic P2 session that was here in the Saxon ring.